The NASCAR Xfinity Series takes on Sin City, and big surprise, the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas look pretty damn good. But what happened to SVG, and is this what the season could look like for this rookie?
High, push it, checker flag, hell yeah!
What's the caution for? Mate,
Can it out, push it in?
Stop anybody.
Come on, he's going! Way to go, boys!
one hell of a job, man. One hell of a job. Thank you so much.
Welcome on into the Still Needs a Name NASCAR Xfinity Series show. I'm Alan Bailey. We're almost there with the name. Almost. We've got like really good ideas. Keep dropping your ideas in the comments down below because we're going to like put a bunch on screen probably in the next episode and get your final like take on what the name of this show should be. But for now, it's the unnamed NASCAR Xfinity Series show. I'm Alan Bailey, and before we go any further, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss an episode. And of course, you can always log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Big shout out to you guys for blowing up our last few videos. It truly means a lot, really. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. It really, really means the world to us. So let's go ahead and break down everything that we saw out in Las Vegas and talk about the news for the NASCAR Xfinity Series before we get to your hot takes and preview what's to come this weekend out in Phoenix. John Hunter Nemechek getting it done out there. Led a bunch of laps. Him and his teammate Chandler Smith in the 81 kind of covered the field, honestly. The Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas looked extremely good. And big surprise, Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas are good in the NASCAR Xfinity Series? No! Who could have foreseen this? Except everybody. They're going to be good. John Hunter Nemechek running a partial schedule. He's going to be one of the guys you got to have to beat in order to get in victory lane. He's a bushwhacker, if I'm going to go ahead and borrow an old phrase from the 2000s when Busch Beer sponsored the series. The phrase bushwhacker came into existence because you had guys from the Cup Series coming down to the then Busch Series and kind of dominated and cleaned house. And one year, literally only one person that was an Xfinity regular won a race that year. Everybody else was a Cup Series regular that just so happened to sweep the field. Yes, those were the dark times. No, I didn't love watching Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano win every other race. Kevin Harvick was in there too. It was boring, for lack of a better term. But John Hunter Nemechek getting it done, picking up his 10th career victory out in Las Vegas over the weekend. The exact same weekend that his dad won a race out in Las Vegas in an Xfinity car back in 2003, if memory serves correct. So it's kind of full circle. I mean, John Hunter's doing it now exactly what Joe was doing back in the day, dominating in the Xfinity Series. Want to get to some of the other finishers. Cole Custer, your defending series champ, coming home second out in Las Vegas. He was a guy who wasn't really there, was kind of hanging out in the top 10, hanging out in the top 5, and kind of was there at the end. That's exactly what a championship winning team needs to do. Doesn't matter where you run the entire race. It matters where you are when that checkered flag flies. Yeah, stage points are great. Don't get me wrong. And you had Chandler Smith in the 81 picking up both stages out there. That's great. But it was his teammate John Hunter that got the victory. The 00 just honestly going out there quietly having a really good day. This is exactly what they built their championship off of last year. And they might do it again this year. Chandler Smith in the 81 for Joe Gibbs Racing led a bunch of laps. One stage 1, one stage 2. Very nice little battle right there in the closing lap of stage number 2 in order to get the victory away from John Hunter, his teammate. Honestly, this kid, I think once this team really gels and once they hit their stride, which is going to be coming in the next 5 to 10 weeks, they're going to be unstoppable. They're going to go out there and they're going to win a boatload of races. They've already shown in the first 3 races that the 81 team is one of the teams you're going to have to beat on the racetrack for the victory, but in the championship standings as well. Mark my words, they will be championship contenders. They already are, in my opinion. But Chandler Smith, young, but having a really good day, finishing 3rd out in Las Vegas. This one admittingly surprised me. Riley Herbst in the 89 coming home 5th in his home state of Las Vegas, home track of Las Vegas. A little bit of a disappointment, honestly. He had such a dominant damn car last time we raced out in Vegas that it was expected to be the same. They literally brought the exact same car with the exact same setup, and they had a pretty decent day. Not a great day, but a decent one. Came home 5th. maybe the one that gets away, maybe, I don't know. Did Stewart-Haas lose a little bit of that stride? I don't know. Clearly, Cole Custer picked up some of that speed. He came home second, but it's a good thing when you're disappointed with a 5th place run. Eric Almirola in the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing, 12th out in Las Vegas. Yeah, like in a word, yeah. Like we knew Eric Almirola was Eric Almirola, like it's a low benchmark for the guy, but I was hoping for some decent speed out of him, and a 12th in the Xfinity Series in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment, that's bad, especially when your two teammates are fighting for stage victories and fighting for the win and leading the most laps between the two of them, leading almost all the laps between the two of them, and you're struggling to run 12th? Buddy, yikes. I mean, he doesn't have that Smithfield money now. I don't know how much longer Eric Almirola is honestly going to be hanging out in NASCAR at this rate, because runs like that, not great. Shout out to Hailie Deegan in the number 15. Sincerely, this is a good run for her. This is the first time in her NASCAR Xfinity Series career that she's gone to a racetrack that she already has a start at. She made her debut a couple of years ago in the fall at Las Vegas. She did a really good job. That was a top 15. This is another top 15. This team needs to keep building on this. I think Hailie Deegan had a really good run out there, really good, solid, quiet day. She needs those, but clearly the organization is missing something. When you have Stewart-Haas Racing and Fords finishing 2nd and 5th, and you have Hailie Deegan finishing 15th, clearly I don't think it's Miss Deegan. I think it's the car. I'm still going to keep preaching this. AM Racing is a newer organization. This is only their 2nd full-time season in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and Hailie Deegan's first year, and she's going to struggle because she doesn't have a teammate. That's just a fact. It's nothing against her, but the fact that she doesn't have somebody in that camp to lean on is a little bit of a disadvantage for her, honestly. So I wish them nothing but the best, but Ford needs to start backing this program, and I think that they need to find some more support for that organization. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. Jesse Love, after having a really, really, really good Daytona and Atlanta race, particularly Atlanta, comes home 17th out in Las Vegas. This is the rookie starting to show his rookiness. They didn't have a great run, but this was really the true test out in Vegas. And 17th is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So kudos to Mr. Love for putting together a pretty respectable, kind of quiet day out in Las Vegas. On the flip side of that, Creed in the 18. Same thing as Almirola, man. I mean, 26th in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment out in Las Vegas when your teammates are literally winning all the stages and leading most of the laps. Sheldon's going to have to pick it up, step it up. And I get it. He's with a new organization. The chemistry's not there. Got to keep up with the racetrack changes, and they didn't do that. And now we're really asking ourselves, who has the better equipment in the NASCAR Xfinity Series? Is it Joe Gibbs Racing with the Toyotas, or is it RCR with the Chevys? And finally, and I hate that he's this low on this last week's rundown, SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen in the 97, coming home 37th. Only ran 27 laps out there. I feel bad for him. He had an engine issue, and this is Colleague Racing showing Colleague Racing problems. I mean, I was worried about this when I saw that he was going to be with Colleague in the Xfinity Series this season, and I hate to say I was right, but I might have been a little right here. Colleague Racing is struggling. They aren't firing on all cylinders like they once were in the Xfinity Series because of the Cup program taking away from the Xfinity program. So now the question becomes, can they rebuild? Can we see SVG kind of put together a decent season in, frankly, subpar equipment at this point? Or are Colleague going to be able to turn it around? I don't know. But the fact that you have a rookie, admittingly he is a rookie, I know he has a lot of experience, and I know he is just a phenomenal driver. I'm not taking away from his abilities, but the fact of the matter is he is a rookie in the Xfinity Series because he doesn't have a whole lot of mile-and-a-half programs under his belt. He doesn't have a whole lot of super speedways. He has street courses and road courses covered. Don't get me wrong on that. He's going to be phenomenally great on those if Colleague Racing can give him a car that can last to the end. That is the biggest question. That is the biggest concern. Not so much his driving ability, not so much his capability, but the car's capability and the car's limitations is a big concern and a big problem. Now let's go ahead and check out some of the NASCAR Xfinity Series news that you need to know. The big story, the fact that Bubba Pollard is going to be in the number 88, making his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut for Junior Motorsports at Richmond in a few weeks' time. This guy might be the next Josh Berry in this sport, sincerely. He's the guy who's been racing short tracks and late models and is a legend in his own right, and I'm very excited to see what he does in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Going into Richmond, he's going to be a threat. He should be a threat. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't run top 5, top 10 in that race. And I'd be even more surprised if he isn't racing full-time for Junior Motorsports next season, but that depends on if a car opens up. But frankly, I think he's a guy you got to keep an eye on. Also, last week, literally right after we posted and recorded the show, Hendrick Motorsports announced that they're going to be fielding the number 17 for 10 races in the 2024 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. Again, Rick Hendrick partially owns Junior Motorsports and has an affiliation there, but he's doing his own thing with this program, which I think is really cool. It's more competition for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. William Byron's going to be doing 4 races, starting actually this weekend at Phoenix in that number 17, then out at Darlington in a few weeks' time, and then is going out to Pocono and then the Glen, respectfully. Kyle Larson's going to cover the road courses, or at least some of them, with COTA in a few weeks' time, and then Chicago street course later this summer. Chase Elliott's going to be racing out at Charlotte in May in the Xfinity Series, and Darlington in the fall, with Alex Bowman racing in New Hampshire for his lone start in June, with Boris Said racing Sonoma in the number 17. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. I'd be extremely surprised if we do not see Raja Karuth making another few starts in the number 17 for Hendrick Motorsports. He made that one start last year in the Phoenix finale for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and he quietly had a really respectable top 20 day. And he was a little dejected by how he finished. He was expecting a top 5, top 10 run, and that's just having high expectations of yourself. And I saw him after the race. He was optimistic, but a little down on himself. And after winning his first NASCAR Truck Series race out in Las Vegas over the weekend, and the announcement that HendrickCars.com will be his sponsor for the entire 2024 season in the Truck Series on the number 71 truck, I think Rick Hendrick is going to take a bigger interest in this kid. He already has, and I think we're going to see him in an Xfinity car, at least for a start or two for Hendrick Motorsports, maybe Junior Motorsports, and then I'd be really surprised if we don't see Raja Karuth in the number 17 or at a Junior Motorsports car full-time for 2025. I'm calling it now. He's that guy that you seriously have to keep an eye on. And if he develops his talents in the Truck Series, it's season number 2 for Raja in the Truck Series, I'd be very surprised if Hendrick doesn't move him up very quickly. Now it's time to get to my favorite part of the show, and that is your hot takes, where we open up the comments down below for a little bit of your take here on the program, and we're going to go ahead and start with this. With all the reporting of the star of the show, SVG, on every channel, why can't I find any info about him not finishing the Xfinity race in Las Vegas? Where are the lights? Pretty meh. Well, I mean, we just kind of reported on it, literally, earlier in the show. But I get it. And I think what it is it boils down to Fox's coverage. They're not great at covering stories, admittingly. And how you don't cover SVG when a very large portion of your audience from overseas is paying attention to him is baffling to me. But we're going to continue to cover him. He's going to be in one segment or another. We're going to bring him up on every show because he is such a fascinating story. It's similar to when Danica Patrick came into the sport, except he actually has talent. Guess while Haley continues to underperform, the Good Old Boys Network won't feel any pressure to take her out. So she has that going for her for now. I mean, I don't think there's ever been, like, I'm sure there's a few drivers that dislike her for reason A or reason B, but I don't feel like there's ever been a target on Haley Deegan's back on the racetrack. I feel like in the Truck Series, she got roughed up because it's the Truck Series, and frankly, that series is a little bit of a hot mess. You have a lot of disrespect, and I think because she is female, guys in the Truck Series took cheap shots at her just because they knew, she's probably not going to fight back. She's a girl, meh. And that's not true. She's a very fierce competitor. I think that she is going to have those targets on her back probably for the rest of her career because she's a female. And that really sucks. That is extremely unfair, and it really, really sucks, and I hate it. And I wish that weren't the case, but I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and pretend, oh no, there's no sexism in NASCAR. It's completely fine. We all know that that's a lie. If all those people had not run out of fuel, a different outcome would have happened. Early days yet, but go SVG. I mean, listen, I can sit here and say if the king didn't have balls, she'd be the queen, but it doesn't matter because the what-if scenarios are always going to be out there. That's why the multiverse exists. But honestly, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that SVG ran a very smart race in Atlanta last weekend, and because of that, he was rewarded with a pretty damn good finish. Didn't get that this week because he had those Colleague Racing engines in the car that didn't hold up to him, and that's disappointing too. If his engine held up, what would he have done on this mile and a half? I don't know. I'm very interested to see what will happen once he gets on a mile and a half and actually gets to run the whole race. He only did 27 laps out in Las Vegas this last weekend, and that really sucks. Phoenix this weekend should be interesting. He should take to Phoenix maybe a little bit more because it's a flatter racetrack, because it involves finding that grip and riding that fine line where the rear end's stepping out a little bit and you have to really wheel it. And because of that, I think SVG should, keyword, should be competitive in Phoenix this weekend. But again, he's got the Colleague car, so I don't know what's going to happen. That's why we watch. Speaking of Phoenix this weekend, it should be a pretty damn good race. Should. Because Phoenix actually does produce some decent racing. Not great racing, not bad racing, decent racing. The facility is phenomenal. If you're thinking about heading out to Phoenix this weekend, I highly, highly, highly encourage it because NASCAR redid this track not too long ago. And although the on-track racing product isn't the best, the facilities are hands down one of the better racing facilities I have ever been to. It, in my opinion, rivals what we see out of F1 tracks as far as fan amenities. And because of that alone, you should go to the Diamond in the Desert and go check out the race this weekend out there because it should be pretty damn good. In the meantime, go ahead and continue to leave your hot takes in the comments down below, including what we should call this untitled NASCAR Xfinity Series show. And again, my name cannot be in the title. I refuse. I'm not famous. NASCAR cannot be in the title, and the name Xfinity cannot be in the title. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now. I thought it was obvious. You can't give me names of shows that already exist. Somebody said X Factor, X Factor. That's already a thing. I'm like 99.9% sure X Factor is already a thing, and we can't use it, unfortunately. It's a good name. Can't do it. So go ahead and leave your show name ideas in the comments down below. Thinking maybe, just maybe, by episode 5, we will have our name. Maybe. I don't know. You're going to have to come back and find out. And in order to do that, mash that subscribe button so that you don't miss the next episode. And in the meantime, check out arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Want to thank you so much for hanging out for this episode of the still yet to be named NASCAR Xfinity Series show. I am Alan Bailey. We'll see ya at the track.